everyone, this is just finishing off your mat, and by the time you get to this point you're going to have around about 9 fidgets on your fidget mat. And but just to say that what often ends up happening is that you end up with a few little holes or spaces, if you like, that you haven't filled. So what I've done on this particular mat is I've just added a few extra pieces in. So you'll remember the little flap with the pussycat underneath. I've put a button underneath that to hold it down. There was a space between the fringe and the flap, so I've just put these buttons on here. It says free, but you can put any random buttons on, or just any little pieces of fabric or whatever, just something decorative on here. I've used some of the fabric flowers that were in your pack and just put those together and stitched a button on over the top of that to hold that in place, just to fill that little hole there. And with our little face here, I've put in our elasticated bead fidget and just a little bit of ribbon, just a little piece of decoration on the top of that. Then what I've done is at the bottom here, just to make that slider a little bit more interesting, I've put a little point at this end in felt. You see I've just sewn that around with a zigzag stitch, and then at the bottom of it I've just added some ribbon, and this has got a little flap at either side, so very easy to put on. Just stitch a little square and it just makes that fidget a little bit more interesting. But the choice is yours. Be as creative as you like. Just make sure that whatever you put onto the mat is machine washable and that it is well stitched on so that it doesn't come off. Just another couple of examples of finishing over here as well on this one. You remember the bead fidget here. You also may remember that we did the little textured dog at the side here. I've put a little bit of ribbon at the top, a little bit of braid at the side, just to make it a little bit more interesting. I have put this zip on, and I have just added a little bit of ribbon at this side, a little bit of braid at this side, and I've used a decorative stitch rather than just a plain stitch or zigzag, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Here's our braid with the ribbon at the top. You'll see there I've just wrapped yarn around that, should I say thread around that, pulled it in so that it forms a bow, and then I've just stitched over the top of that there. And this is an alternative way of doing an organza patch. So I've just taken a square of fabric, sewn my organza over the top, leaving the top open, put the beads and buttons inside, and then sewn it back up again. This has got 2 pouches, so you've got different things in each pouch, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And then I've just stitched ribbon around the end, around the edge, to hold it all in place. I've also put a little bit of different fabric on the top here, just because it's textural and quite visual. And I have embroidered with my embroidery machine some flowers and the word love on there. But as I said, it's all up to you. You can make them as creative as you like or as plain as you like. This one's got a little wow underneath the underneath the flap. So just whatever you like to make them more interesting. And have fun.